Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As Waters Above has so correctly posted, the Blackswan has arrived. And we have accurately pinpointed the exact time frame that it was meant to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, if after watching my channel you still think that the events happening today are random, you're not paying attention. And all I'm gonna let you know is this. Yesterday, in my previous video, I told you to follow me on Rumble. That is the Aggressively Average podcast. Go follow me on Rumble. Because I'm about to post one of the most important videos I have in my life that I can't post over here. Guys, what we're going to be discussing is what exactly is truly going on in the world. And all I ask you to do is to pay attention and listen with open ears. What's happening in the world today is going to lead to a number of things. But most importantly, it's going to inform you about how the world really works. Now, I'm going to pivot your attention to something very important, as it's conspiracy time from Finance a Lot. Phase 1, Russia. Phase 2, Middle East. Phase 3, China. The United States is getting spread thin. Phase 1, tie up Russia in the north so they're unable to support allies in the Middle East through Russia-Ukraine. Phase 2, pivot away from Russia, leaving Europe to hold the bag. Provide strategic air support for this current invasion. Claim you can't commit fully to helping in Ukraine because you have to pivot your attention away to what's happening in the Middle East right now. Then, Iran retaliates against the US by cyber attacking critical infrastructure, quote unquote, galvanizing the public and making them want to continue what's going on. Blame them for causing a stock market crash and banking system collapse. Then step 3, pivot to China, providing naval support for all allies in the region, boxing them in after having destroyed their Belt and Road Initiative through the Middle East. Are you beginning to pay attention? What's happening right now is financial, geopolitical, and all in the US's best interest. And all in the interest of the powers that be. The entire world is at war. And even though they haven't called it World War III yet, we know exactly what this is. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been on point more often than not on this channel, especially here in 2023 at anticipating world events. And all I ask you to do is have an open mind and understand war strategy and the incentive behind them. We are going into a new world, and the critical events happening today will lead us into them. Now, in regards to XRP talk, Eleanor Tourette actually states that Ripple's CFO Christina Campbell has left her post at Ripple to become the CFO of Maven Clinic. I'm not sure what has happened, but I'm curious to see in the comments below. Do you guys think something bad has occurred? Do you guys think this is a Ripple change in direction for a specific reason? I think it's possible that she may be on her way out because of what happened with Fortress Trust. That's a decent idea. But I'm curious to know what you guys think, because it's very interesting. After all these victories at the SEC, why she would leave. Ladies and gentlemen, does this mark a pivot in the Ripple direction? Could this be an initial indicator of a future IPO, needing someone new to take us there? Who knows? But what I'm going to ask all of you to do is to see who Ripple hires as their new CFO and see what they've specialized in. I think that's going to tell us a lot about the future of Ripple's direction. Now here, I have this powerful clip from Crypto Eddie showing the former CFTC Commissioner Brian Quintes, now the head of policy at A16Z, tell you how ridiculous Gary Gensler is. And here you're going to understand why they're opening offices in the UK and why most crypto companies are moving overseas.
The debanking issue, I don't think we have enough experience here in this market to really adequately talk about that. I did notice that JP Morgan Chase just announced a blanket ban on all crypto deposits and crypto clients, which I don't think is encouraging. But at least my reaction to what I've seen or been hearing is that it is more driven by banks themselves making those decisions, whereas in the United States, I think there's a strong suspicion that it is actually being driven by the regulators telling the banks that they are not allowed to bank crypto businesses. But I think it's important that legal businesses, regulated businesses, do have access to financial services. And again, in most cases, these are deposit accounts, right? This is not a lending activity. It's not a credit risk for the bank. There are examples in the United States where we can't even send founders a check for our investment because they can't get a bank account. I mean, that's ridiculous.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is in fact ridiculous. And Brian Quintes says it best. This is so important because what you need to understand is that Operation Choke Point, headed by Elizabeth Warren and little Gary here in the United States, was in full effect. And I think all of you forgot about Silicon Valley Bank and the banking failures that occurred March 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot forget. There is a coordinated effort to try and debank crypto companies. And even in the UK, which is very crypto friendly, there's a coordinated effort with JP Morgan to stop you, the retail investor, from being able to buy crypto. Isn't that absolutely unbelievable? What I have to say about that is, ladies and gentlemen, do not get manipulated. Understand why they do things and when they do things are no coincidence. They're doing this now because now is when you can get rich from crypto. Now is at or very close to the market bottom before the next crypto bull run. Now is when you can get rich. Not when we're at all-time highs. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to look back with 2020 hindsight once the bull run is in full effect. Watch how easy it's going to be for you retail investors to invest in certain tokens. They're going to make all these different platforms and all these different on-ramps, and every mainstream Goliath, wealth manager, bank is going to allow you to get in. Know that crypto exchanges are in on it as well. Remember the Coinbase effect. Whenever a crypto gets put on Coinbase, that is at or near the top of that crypto's bull cycle. Whenever it's very easy to invest in a token, that is when it's most likely going to be the top. Whenever organizations are very hostile in letting you get in, that is the point of maximum perceived risk, because it's the point of, in reality, maximum reward for you. That's why DeFi is so important. That's why DEXs will be so important. That's why crypto innovation will be so important. Ladies and gentlemen, these centralized institutions and bodies will limit your growth by any means necessary because they don't want you in the club. But I want you all to make it into the new 1%. And that's why I'm going to cap off this video for today by reminding all of you of the massive innovation that Flare is. Ladies and gentlemen, we haven't talked about Flare for a while, but they've been monthly giving us our passive income, our drop awards, and everything you need to understand about this network is that the guys over at Flare are continuously building left and right. They're giving developers all the data they need to create new blockchain use cases. And they're providing the data at minimal cost for maximum scalability as blockchain adoption increases. Flare Network, in my opinion, is going to be an absolute behemoth. And right now, it's at rock bottom prices because nobody's paying attention. Most of us in the XRP community got Flare for free. But if you haven't gotten any already, I highly recommend it. Now guys, I'm going to cap off this video for today with this clip from Hugo. And I hope later tonight you take a look at what I post on Rumble, as I have a lot to say. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
Can you tell me a little bit about your approach with Flare Network to crypto use cases?
So obviously we're, trying to run a broad gamut of what can be use cases. This is why our kind of data first thesis is sort of where we've pitched ourselves, because we think that, blockchain as a ledger is great. Blockchain with, computation and a ledger is fantastic. But you need to be able to access data from external to the chain in a essentially as low cost way as possible. If it's expensive, like the existing incumbent oracles, that's not going to allow scaling. And really, we think that the future is about allowing people to build dApps that have access to as much data as possible so that they're useful. So we think that obviously we're starting in DeFi. We think there's a lot of possibilities in gaming, a lot of possibilities in tokenization, and a lot of possibilities in machine learning, specifically around data.